Well, people, changing it up just a little bit, trying to create some separation between my individual podcasts. I saw video earlier this week of a talk show host, Charlamagne from the Breakfast Club, and he was interviewing Kamala Harris, our sitting vice president, and it was the most awkward interview I have ever seen. So we're going to get to that interview. I'm probably going to have some pauses, say some things in between. But if you haven't seen it yet, I don't know if this was orchestrated. I don't know if, I can see how some would probably think, oh, this was planned. They wanted to do this to make the vice president seem strong. Seems like she has things under control. And for me, it did the exact opposite. For me, I came away from this interview thinking this woman really doesn't have a firm grip on reality. She doesn't really know what's going on, and she's struggling to find her place and get her footing. So let's listen to this.
Position, but we cannot give up. None of us can. And the reality is, because the issues are too serious and they impact everybody every day. And I agree with you. They're very serious.
Who's the superhero that's going to speak against Joe Manchin? I want to know who's the real president of this country. Is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?
I'm sorry. I interrupted. I don't think the vice president can hear you. It's Simone.
Now, this is her press secretary, Kamala Harris. And you can tell Kamala Harris was getting ready to answer the question. And her press secretary, handler, person, whatever her position or title is, I apologize, I don't know. She was like, I'm sorry, the vice president didn't hear you. I don't think she heard you. But even before then, she was interrupting. So my question is, did she assume he was going to ask a hard-hitting question that she couldn't answer? That's very possible. With that being said, why would she try to cut him off? What did she think he was going to say? And why did she cut him off at this point? There's a lot about this interaction. It was right at the end of their interview that I don't understand. To this point of the interview, I kind of skimmed through it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but just kind of skimmed through, took the cliff notes, basically. Listened for a couple of minutes, skipped forward, listened for, 1 minute or so, a couple seconds, skip forward. And he really didn't ask her any hard-hitting questions. Complete softball interview. So what did her press person think he was getting ready to do? This is what I cannot figure out. And this is what I've been trying to understand. And I don't know. I do not know. I can't figure it out. But it gets more awkward.
I'm so sorry, Charlamagne. We have to wrap.
She can hear me.
So first she said that Kamala Harris couldn't hear him. And then she said we have to wrap it up. And that's what she was saying in the background beforehand, that they had to wrap it up. I don't understand. When I tell you I was confused when I watched this, I honestly don't understand what's happening right here. Let's continue.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me, Madam Vice President?
So I'm sorry. You got to wrap.
Oh.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
They're acting like they can't hear me. Y'all see that?
So now he acknowledges that, they acting like they can't hear me. Now, I think things kind of take a shift here. And this is just me surmising. I don't know this for a fact, so don't take what I'm saying as gold. But it would appear that Kamala Harris gets the sense that she has to get control of that question that he asked. Is Joe Biden really the president? Because there's a lot of people who think this man cannot really be running the country. It can't be him. He just doesn't seem he doesn't seem to have the mental prowess to do the job. He really doesn't. And I think she made an attempt to get a hold of that idea right there. Let's listen.
I can hear you.
Oh, so who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlamagne.
Come
on. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
So this is where it's getting ready to go off the rails. when I say I don't understand her reaction, you could tell that Charlamagne was kind of being jovial. There's a lot of people, like I said, that do have a question of whether Joe Biden's actually running the country or not. But I don't think Charlamagne meant anything crazy by it. He was kind of being lighthearted, and even the way he presented it, because he's talking about Joe Manchin. If you don't know, Joe Manchin almost just about single-handedly upended the Build Back Better bill. Anyway, let's continue.
No. It's Joe Biden, and don't start talking like a Republican about asking whether or not he's president.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris. And the reality is, because we are...
I just had to stop there. You ever had a conversation with someone that didn't really know how to converse, how to interact with people, and they say something and you're just like, yo, that's so weird and just out of place the way you said that. The way, she got that head bob. No, I'm Kamala Harris. I'm the vice president. As if we don't know who she is. Like, I could not make sense of this. When I first saw this video, I honestly thought it was a parody. I thought this was made up. I thought, there is no way this actually happened. And it actually did. And I was just completely and utterly flabbergasted. Let's continue.
Are in office, we do the things like the child tax credit, which is going to reduce Black child poverty by 50%, on track to do that. We do things that are about saying that our Department of Justice is going to do these investigations and require that we end chokeholds and have body cameras. It is the work of saying we're going to get lead out of pipes and paint because our babies are suffering because of that.
Let me stop there. And I hate to interject my religious beliefs on my political podcast, but this is what really makes up me, right? My belief in the Lord Jesus Christ is what makes up my whole entire life. When she said what she said about babies, my first thought, and somebody said this on another post as well, what about the children who are slaughtered daily in the womb? Maybe some of these people don't see it that way, and that's, very possible that they don't see it that way. They honestly don't, and they don't understand the irony in what they're saying. But what she's saying is really ironic when you have that in mind.
It is the work of saying people who ride public transit deserve the same kind of dignity that anybody else does. So let's improve that system.
Now, I really don't understand that. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised. I took the train and the bus pretty much the whole time I was in New York. I left when I was 18 to go into the military. I took the train probably from the time I was 1 year old. Of course, I don't really remember back that far, but I remember going to school taking buses and trains. I took a train to work when I worked for the New York City Transit Authority as an intern. I never felt like I was a subpar citizen because I took the train. Never once did I think that way. Now, I grew up broke and poor, and you kind of feel some type of way being broke, but it is what it is. But I didn't understand that connection right there. I think she's reaching for things to make her and Biden's administration legitimate as champions of the people. I really think that's what she was doing. Let's continue.
It is the work of saying that we have got to bring down prescription drug costs because folks who have diabetes should not be dying because they don't have enough money in their pocket. It's about...
Here is what is odd about her saying that. This is widely known. This is not some conspiracy theory. It's not hid under a rock. When Donald Trump was president, he brokered a deal and insulin prices dropped dramatically from what I remember. So I'm her saying that it's almost as though she is saying things she thinks is antithetical to the previous administration. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. In the previous administration, the price of insulin dropped quite drastically, if I'm not mistaken, from what I remember. I'm telling you, her answers completely odd.
Saying Black maternal mortality is a real issue that must be treated by everybody, including the White House.
Black maternal mortality. Now, I don't know the stats on that, so I'm not going to act like I have some information to contradict what she's saying, but I haven't heard anything about black maternal mortality, and maybe I just missed that information. It's possible, but if I missed that information, I'm sure that there's many people who missed that information and don't know anything about it, which makes, again, her response is super strange.
As a serious issue, I hear the frustration, but let's not deny the impact that we've had and agree also that there is a whole lot more work to be done.
Now, again, this is not to be seen, and I hope it's not seen as a partisan attack against her. It's just things that don't make sense. Whether you like Biden or don't like Biden, voted for him or didn't vote for him, I didn't vote for him. I voted for Trump. People already know that. I've said that before. The impact that she's had, the Biden administration has not had a good impact at all. As I would venture to say that things have gone quite literally in a negative direction, drastically so. Again, her response is super weird.
And it is not easy to do, but we will not give up, and I will not give up.
I just want you to know that Madam Vice President, that Kamala Harris, that's the one I like. That's the one that was put in the...
And to me, this is just my opinion. I don't know Charlamagne personally. He seems like a very intelligent dude. He honestly does. Of course, there's some things that he says that I don't agree with. We're on polar opposite ends of many issues. Nonetheless, I don't think he's an idiot. I don't think he's a dumb dude. I think he's pretty smart. His response to her right here seems so disingenuous, almost like he understands. Like, I think Kamala Harris is a very deaf person when it comes to interactions with people, emotional responses, and I don't think she understands how this looks. And I think Charlamagne does, and he's trying to clean up this situation the best way he possibly can. And I just honestly do not think it's working. He's doing his best job to clean this up, but because when it comes off, if you're paying attention, you understand that he was being jovial with his first comment about who's president, Joe Biden or Joe Manchin, right? He's trying to say who's really in control. How could Joe Manchin stop his whole agenda? Kamala Harris, it almost appears as though she took that person. Now, maybe all of this is orchestrated. Maybe they planned for all of this, and this was supposed to be a show of the vice president seeming like she's strong and involved, because a lot of people have the thought that this is a farce. This whole administration is a farce and she's doing nothing. Maybe that's why this whole thing happened at the end of this, because it doesn't make sense. Her press secretary interrupting her doesn't make sense. Her really losing her cool with Charlamagne doesn't make sense. Nothing about this makes sense if you're paying attention, in my opinion. So again, Charlamagne's comments right here talking about this is the Kamala Harris I like, keeping people in check. That just doesn't seem genuine. No, I would say nobody believes that, but maybe somebody does. I don't.
Pressure on people in Senate hearings. That's the one I'd like to see more often out here in these streets. Thank you for joining us, Madam Vice President.
I'm glad to be with you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Give Maya my love too, and Doug.
All right, you take care. Give your family my love. I want to see those babies.
Absolutely. Thank you.
When I tell you the first time I saw that it was hard to watch, hard to make it through, I thought, this is not real. This is not reality. I'm missing something. The encouraging thing, because a lot of news like this comes out and people get discouraged about a lot of things. I've been encouraged in a lot of things I see, even as a believer. Again, I don't know when the Lord Jesus Christ is coming back. I want to be prepared every moment of my life for him to return. I don't know when that is. But a lot of people get bent out of shape with news and they go one way or another. We don't know when the end is exactly. We know that things will get bad. We understand that, but we don't know if this is that time. The one thing I am encouraged about is I think there is a political class of people who are elite, and I think Kamala Harris is one of these elites, And I believe that they recognize their whole narrative is being broken down. The whole narrative that they've sold to the populace for so many years is falling apart. And they have no idea what to do or how to put things back in place. It was disrupted. And it seems like they can't get the Lego blocks back together. It's almost like, if you ever played the game Jenga, right? When you see the person going for that one block and you know it's just going to tear the whole thing down and you're going to have to start all over. It's like that's what happened. Something happened and somebody pulled the wrong Jenga block and their whole tower fell apart. Some people say that was Donald Trump. Maybe it was before that. Maybe there was a bunch of blunders performed by the elite before that led to Trump. I don't know. The one thing I can say is I'm encouraged because to me, this is a sign that they know the narrative is definitely breaking down and there's nothing they can do about it.